Hey guys, so I figured there was a certain amount of inevitability with the request for this video after seeing that I had put my thoughts on classic World of Warcraft servers. So, let me put my thoughts on classic Anarchy Online in the hopes that there would one day be classic Anarchy Online servers. As you can see, I'm still on Noob Island. I have a froob here. This is actual footage. This is not old footage. This is current. This is me doing this with the recording of this video, which is pretty interesting. But let's talk first, as we did in the old video, we'll talk first about my feelings and the nature when the game had originally released, and then we will talk about what I feel classic servers could provide for the game that is not already there. Oh man, so this is going to be a nostalgia trip, isn't it? So, let's talk about classic Anarchy Online first. That was one of the best, if not the absolute best times in gaming I've ever had. I've never experienced an MMORPG before Anarchy Online. Only visually, not first person, because I had seen it in the TV show Portal on G4 TV, if any of you remember that, which I still watch on YouTube. I've done videos on that TV show. Incredible TV show. But I had never experienced something so incredible and something to such a scale of Anarchy Online. And yeah, I'd played the Final Fantasy RPGs, and I had played, obviously, the Pokemon RPGs, stuff like that, but never something that was online in a living, breathing world that never shut down. That, to me, was just incredibly breathtaking. The game, especially when it launched, was so ambitious for its time, because there is nothing that had ever been done like it before. It was entirely unique. And you know what? I normally don't include audio in these videos, but let's give you guys a little something, huh? There you go. I hope that's to your liking. I'm sorry, I probably should have had that for the beginning, but I've rambled for 2 minutes already, and there's no way I'm doing that again. So getting back to what we were talking about, when the game first launched, I had never experienced anything like it. And it was great to be around a group of people that also had no idea what was going on. It provided a certain level of comfort and charm, so to speak. Because you didn't feel left out that you didn't know, because nobody knew. And as you could tell, Noob Island's pretty laggy. It's not my PC. It's Noob Island. I guess it's just a sign of, nobody being here for so long. But occasionally you'll see somebody pop in here. And for what the game was, there wasn't much sci-fi around the time. You had Earth and Beyond, which was pretty terrible, and you had another handful of games. EVA came out shortly thereafter. But most of the sci-fi MMOs were garbage at the time. So to be able to play this was just breathtaking. And I like sci-fi. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I like sci-fi. So to be able to experience that firsthand and to be in a living, breathing world. And the game was so much... It was simpler yet more complex at the same time. There was no perks, there was nothing like that, but the game still had so much depth to it. And the game was much slower. Leveling was slow, but you created this certain bond with your character. And I talked about that in World of Warcraft, but I felt it much more in a prevalent manner in Anarchy Online. I felt like when I had made Tony in Anarchy Online, November 30th, 2002, that Aatrox Enforcer I made, I felt that was me. I felt a connection to him, like what he had gone through was something I had also gone through. And just wandering around the forests around Tyr, words can't describe it, I'm sorry. I try and find the words. Whenever anybody asks me to describe classic Anarchy Online, it's so difficult. But I really do think it was a better time in the game, and I don't think that's just nostalgia speaking, because the game, although at launch maybe not so much, but became a lot more stable, and the player base was so helpful to one another, and yes, obviously it was more lively, but we can't hold that against it, because time, of course, will take away from that. You can't expect to have the same population you had at launch years later, unless you are World of Warcraft, in which case you're going to have a higher population, and good for you if you could sustain such a thing. That's beautiful. But Anarchy Online did not befall the same fate. It took a big hit, and still to this day is pretty barren. But that's not what we're talking about. Sorry to bring it down for a second. I did not mean to. Let's bring it back up. I remember the first time doing Tower Wars, and that was incredible. Trying to find adjectives and synonyms that coincide with incredible is going to become difficult the longer this video goes on. So I'll try and keep it brief. But the slow leveling was nice, and being on Rubica was great. When the Shadowlands came out, I talked about it in the other video I had done where we spoke in depth on every expansion for the game. But I thoroughly enjoyed Rubica. That's where I felt happiest. Not to say I didn't absolutely adore the Shadowlands, because I did. Wonderful zone, wonderful zones, wonderful expansion. It added so much to the game. But there was just a certain, I don't know what the word is for it, that base game had that could never be replicated, in my opinion. Ever. And that's unfortunate, and it's fortunate in the same regard. Because it's nice to know that what it had created was something that was so just unique and marvelous. Let's put this on social. And I struggle with whether it was good or bad. But we know my feelings on Classic Anarchy Online. I do truly believe it was one of the best experiences to have in any video game. And that if you were unfortunate enough to miss it, I'm so sorry, because you missed something that was truly remarkable and truly groundbreaking. Now, something I've been clamoring for a while, and something I've been an advocate for, was, as many of you probably know, vanilla Anarchy Online servers. Even with just Anarchy Online and Notum Wars. I think that is an incredibly double-edged sword for a plethora of reasons, because the population in the game is so small that it could really cause hindrance to the game, because it would divide an already pretty heavily divided community. And by already divided community, I mean with people that say they'll never play the game and the few stragglers that there still are. That's pretty strong division. I think it could, at least for a period of time, bring some people back into the game and make them interested in playing again, but some people may go back to that and never come back to up-to-date servers, you know? Never come back to regular live servers. And that's a risk I think the game might benefit from taking, but it's a tough one, man, because the population's so small that if you divide it in any way, it's really going to be a hindrance. Woohoo, level 9. Let's go sell all this stuff, except for this IQ ring. I'm going to hold on to that. And it could be such a hindrance that the game could never recover from it. See, with World of Warcraft, you don't have that issue because you have millions of people playing, and you already saw the demand for a vanilla server. Because you had Nostalrius and Elysium, and you had all these other servers, and the same goes for EverQuest. But I think the same could be said for Anarchy Online to a degree, because I think there are people that would come back, and there are people like me that would go over there. Because if they said they were going to introduce a vanilla server, I would pay for an account. There's no questions. I've said that for years. I wouldn't doubt it for a second. I would be back playing vanilla, playing the way I think the game was meant to be played. Not to say that I thought the expansion content was bad. It would just be nice to go back to, as I said before, a simpler yet eerily more complex time. If that's something the population could sustain, I don't know. I would surely hope so. I think it's worth taking the shot now, because the game is in such a state where you really don't have much to lose. What are you going to lose? The last few people that are still around? And not to be condescending, although I am a lot. But like I said, what's there to lose? What are you going to lose out on? The few people that are left? I think they'll understand if you're willing to take a risk to see if there's anything more you can add to your already aging game. I would love it. I would be back in a heartbeat. It wouldn't be a question. Just to be able to experience that again. Now, in terms of the longevity of it, how long would it be able to last? In terms of these old servers, would they be able to sustain themselves for any sort of long-term growth? I don't know. That's one I really don't know. Because with other games where you're at least able to gauge some sort of a modicum of a demand, because there were already people saying, this is what I want, this is what I want to do. And, oh, sorry, it's my phone. Well, surprise, surprise. We don't know that for Anarchy Online. But I think what we should do, and this is the point I'm going to leave the video off on, is that take a look at this beautiful place, first and foremost, and let me know how much you miss this, because I know I do, and I think you do as well. I think there's certain things that perhaps if we were vocal enough about it could get done. I don't know, because we know Funcom. We know that, you know, they're not good at getting things done, per se. However, I think what we should do is we should start stirring up a little noise about a Vanilla Anarchy Online server, and about bringing Froob Island and the Job starter area back, or the Shadowlands starter area back. That's just what I think, and that's what I think we should do. And if anybody's with me, start like a petition or something, or start something on the forums that doesn't get banned like everything else does. Oh boy. But that's my thoughts, guys. Thank you so very much for watching this stammeringly long 11-minute and 20-something second video, what it is right now. And I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.